coming. We still have folks coming in. We really appreciate your participation in our speaker series. The speaker series was initiated by our chief, Deborah Lamb, to allow different folks to understand some of the things that are, how some things actually interact within INP, and also how technology is being used for just day-to-day things. And we have the opportunity today to hear about that, because our title is called Fearless Inc. Fearless Inc. is the subject for both Sylvia Duarte and Tunan Das. Tunan Das is a writer from Bangladesh, and as you know, it's a very volatile country, and because of his social positions, he has been persecuted. He recently had to leave his country in April of this year, and now he's here seeking asylum with ICORN USA, which is an organization which provides asylum to writers. And locally, we have him here with City of Asylum, because City of Asylum is the local Pittsburgh division of ICORN. Sylvia Duarte is the Deputy Director of City of Asylum, and she also is the editor for Samsonia Way. Samsonia Way gives voice to persecuted writers who are here, and also writers who are in other countries who cannot have their voices heard, but Samsonia Way magazine allows their voices to be heard across the country and gives them a connection from country to country, and allows all of those people to share in their thoughts and ways that they're using to overcome injustices in their country. I'd like to introduce Sylvia.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, it is a pleasure to be here. We really hope you can know more about the organization and get involved if possible if you find a way after this. So thank you so much for having us. Well, I will talk first about a little bit about City of Asylum, then I will talk about Samsonia Way, and then the three of us, Tuhin, Nondini, that is the interpreter, and myself, we are going to sit here and we are going to have a public conversation, so you have a chance to know better about Tuhin. So City of Asylum, like one says, is an organization that provides sanctuary to persecuted writers, so they can continue to write and their voices are not silent. Until now, we already had 6 writers from different countries. We started in 2004. And the writers have a 2 years program. They have a stipend, they have the house, they have medical and legal assistance. So that's the main mission of City of Asylum. And we do that, all of that, we do it in Samsonia Way Street, that is in the north side of Pittsburgh. But we also, because the organization has grown organically in a different way, so we also provide programming for the community. Until now, we presented 300 musicians and writers. Not all of them are persecuted. And they come just to read, to play in Pittsburgh. Some of them stay longer in residences. And they have come from 60 different countries. All of our events are free. And now we have the program, just to give you an idea, in 2013, we had 13 events. This year, from January to September, we are going to have 55 events. And from September 2016 to September 2017, we are going to have 125 events. So that's a lot, and one of the reasons we are increasing that much is because we are moving to our new cultural center that is going to be located in North Avenue, where the former Masonic temple was. So are you familiar with the Garden Theater there? Yeah, well, that's the building everybody recognizes. So just beside there is like a beautiful building, and that's where we are going to be. In the basement, we are going to have the offices of City of Asylum. In the first floor, you can imagine it like in 3 squares. So in the left, we are going to have a restaurant. It's Casa Lula. It's coming from New York City. So they are opening a branch here. We are really excited about that. Then we are going to have a space for performances in the middle. And in the right, we are going to have a bookstore that is going to be specialized in translation. So we are really excited about it. And a good thing about the center is that if we have big events, we can like move everything, including the shelves, They have racks, and we put them in the corner, so all the space is for performances. And of course, if you want to have a glass of wine or cheese, you can do that. So that's City of Asylum. That's what we have. City of Asylum started a magazine in 2009. And it's samsoniaway.org. You can see there the address. These are the houses that are located in Samsonia Way. This is in Samsonia Way Street. This is where the writers live. And that's why the magazine has that name, because we also provide sanctuary to persecuted writers, but in a virtual way, online. Is that understandable? I guess that at this point, because I have like a really English accent, you are thinking, where is she from? I am from Guatemala. My background is as a journalist, so that's why I started to work in the magazine many years ago. So the first article we did was in 2009, and so it was everywhere in media that bloggers were persecuted in Cuba. And maybe you have heard about Joanny Sanchez, that is really famous. But also it was a name that before was not mentioned. It was Orlando Luis Pardo. And that really captured my attention. I was like, who is this guy? And because both of them were participating in a peaceful protest, and they were kidnapped, they were beaten, and so the news was everywhere. But I wanted to interview Orlando. I can't tell you how difficult it was to connect with him. I had to contact some friends in Spain, then some friends in Miami. At the end, we could be in contact. But the story of Orlando, you are going to see it through the presentation, is that this was just the beginning. Then he was part of different projects in the magazine that you are going to see. So this was 2009. Until now, we already published more than 1,000 articles. And we have excerpts in fiction, poetry, nonfiction. We also have interviews, cartoons, videos, music. So it's, at the beginning, we were publishing just bi-monthly issues. But you know that online, things don't move that way. You really need to give your readers every day something. So we changed the format, and that's how we do it now. Something that is really important with our interviews is they are really long. And that's not important because it can be really long just with words that don't matter. The thing is that we really want to offer a profile of the writers that is really complete. Normally, with the persecuted writers, what happens is that journalists are interested in the persecuted part of their life, but not in their craft, not in anything else. Or sometimes even they are not in the real political part of it. So what we do is we interview the writers sometimes for 2 weeks, sometimes for a month or longer. So we have really complete interviews. And that has been great because they are source material for big publications. So like The Guardian, the Huffington Post, or PBS have picked those stories, those interviews, and they do their own story based on that. Now journalists, they don't research that much. So that's really comfortable for them. And it's really important for the writers because otherwise they are not going to be known. Their work is going to be hidden. We also have a lot of multimedia, different formats of multimedia. We publish, I would say 2 per month. Writer's Block is the name of the series, and they are videos with the writers that come to City of Asylum. And we talk with them basically about craft, with the writers that come to visit City of Asylum. So until now we have 100, more or less, writers blocked. And it's really cool because sometimes we repeat the questions. So now we are in time to put together some of the questions we repeat. So we can have 10 writers responding the same thing. So we can do different series doing that. We also have what we call Freedom Chat, and they are interviews with writers in risk by Skype. So they are in their countries, and we are interviewing them just by Skype, and we publish those interviews. Of course, we have infographics, we have slideshows that have been really well received by the public. Then we started to use Google Hangouts. I am sure you are familiar with. And we call it Exile Hangout. You know, when these writers leave their country, they lose a lot of things, I guess, starting with the family. But between these things, they lose the opportunity of being with their partners, with their peers, to other writers from their country, to talk about politics, to talk about literature. You know, they go to the pub and talk about it. They go to a coffee shop and talk about it. So what we did in Exile Hangout was to put together writers from the same country in a conversation so they can talk about those things. But we have to consider that these writers are really in different countries. So one can be in Sweden, the other one in the United States, but the other one in Spain, and the other one in Mexico, but they coincide in this space. We have done it with Turkey, with Cuba, with Venezuela twice, and with Iran. Was that understandable? We also have a section with columns, so you can see here some of the columnists we have had. This has been really important. Sometimes the main media don't have the news we have because the writers are in their country, many of them. So if you have time, I will really invite you to go and see them and read them. Something that have happened is, of course, Samsonia Way connect the writers with new audiences. And this is really important for them because it's giving them a space to create awareness, to bring attention of the public opinion, but also something that we didn't think before. What has happened is that Samsonia Way has connected the writers with their old networks. So we had a writer, to give you an example, we had a writer from Ethiopia, Mesfin Negash, and 3,500 followers of Facebook are in Ethiopia, from Ethiopia, following Mesfin. So those were things that we were not expecting, but happened in the magazine. We also published, this is just one exercise we did with Orlando Luis Pardo, the guy that I talked at the beginning. He came to Pittsburgh. He spent with us 6 months. And he selected 16 different writers that never were published in English before. So we published them in the magazine in English and Spanish. Then we printed as an anthology. And so you can look at in Amazon, and it's there. And we are really proud of that. It's the first book of City of Asylum. So I have been mentioning Orlando Luis Pardo in different times, and it's because I will say that he is one of the writers that have used all the opportunities that City of Asylum and Samsonia Way offer. So he has been interviewed, he has published an excerpt, she has been a columnist, a resident, the editor of the anthology, and also a participant of the Google Hangout.
Hello, my name is Orlando Luis Pardolazo. I'm a Cuban fiction writer, blogger, and independent journalist in a country where journalism is under attack by the government. I have been collaborating with Samsonia Way magazines since several years ago as a columnist, and also was able to participate in the very exciting experience of preparing an anthology of Cuban fiction, new trends in Cuba. It was called Generation Year Zero, and compiled the work of 16 young fiction writers, mainly from Havana, Cuba. The opportunity of having a platform like Samsonia Way magazine is very important for writers in many countries, especially where freedom of speech is compromised, like in Cuba, but in many other countries. Many writers have had the opportunity to get to know each other from countries that are so remote geographically, then they are just one click from distance from one another. Ethiopia, Vietnam, Burma, Cuba, United States, Venezuela, Iran, China. So it's a great opportunity, and I really feel very happy being able to collaborate as a columnist and then also as a fiction writer with Samsonia Way magazine and City of Asylum, Pittsburgh. Many of the fiction writers, including in the Generation Year Zero, compiled by Samsonia Way magazine when I was collaborating with the project in Pittsburgh, may have been published in English or in any other language before the possibility of being included in this anthology. So it was like a gate, not for access to another audiences, for letting the world know which are the new trends, the new kind of provocative literature, experimental literature that is being written in Havana right now, and it doesn't have access to the big markets. Publishing in this website, Samsonia Way magazine, has created debates very important for us in Cuba in order to know that we need to foster precisely that, a culture of debate, a culture of a culture of being writers that are not comfortable for the status quo. Getting to be part of the family of Samsonia Way magazine has been very important for me personally, but also for these 16 writers that we were included in the anthology of Samsonia Way magazine, Generation Year Zero.
Okay. So after we published the anthology with Orlando, we of course wanted to publish the books of the writers of City of Asylum, the books that put them in trouble in their country. So we published the books of Ketmar from Burma, Yaqub Jadali from Iran, Israel Centeno from Venezuela, and Wang Yan from China. We didn't publish Horacio Castellanos at that time because he was already published by New Direction. But that means that all the writers that we had before Tuhin have been published, and of course he is going to be published in the future. So we published them in Amazon, and it was great, and it's a really important tool. If they go to universities, they have something to share with the students can read, and it's good for presentations, it's great. But City of Asylum, we don't have a distribution method. We are not that. So I was like really personal for me was something that I wanted to do. So I was contacting different publishing houses. And at the end, for Nim Media, that is based in LA, they say, we are going to do it. So the book of Yaqub Jadali from Iran was already published, Rituals of Restlessness. And in December, The Conspiracy from Israel Centeno from Venezuela is going to be published.
I'm David Shook, the founding editor of Phony Media, a nonprofit media company dedicated to publishing new voices in translation. We're very excited about our recent partnership with City of Asylum Pittsburgh and our new imprint featuring titles written by their writers in residence, past and present, the first of which I have here now, Rituals of Restlessness by Yaqub Jadali. We have an emphasis on lesser translated languages like Uyghur and Lingala. We're about to publish our first novel from the Esperanto. And we've published a fair number of exiled and persecuted writers as well. So we're very excited about this new partnership with City of Asylum. Publishers Group West, our distributor, is the largest book sales and distribution company in the United States. It represents over 100 independent client publishers, including major independent houses like Grove Atlantic and Faber & Faber. In addition to their full-service distribution, they also help us with our digital books, both in terms of production and distributing them online.
So besides that, we are also the hub for the International City of Refugees Network, ICON, that Gwen mentioned before. They are based on Norway, and they have 50 different houses in Europe, and 2 of the City of Asylum in the United States belong to that network. We are the headquarters of them in the United States. But all the writers of ICON are invited to come with Samsonia Way, and we went to Paris to do it officially, to announce the partnership. So what is really interesting for me is like sometimes we don't know that in this city really are happening a lot of things that are completely internationally. So, well, this, just to finish, these are some of the language we have been translated, and this is where we are focusing our efforts of fundraising to bring more translation, more translators, so we can publish more and more. This is a little bit what Samsonia Way is, and I don't know, I would prefer that we start with Tuhin and we have questions at the end, if that's okay for you. So this is Tuhin Das, and we in City of Asylum are really lucky to have him here. If Tuhin Das returns to Bangladesh, he will be killed. Since 2013, he has been the target of fundamentalist groups who have been murdered free-thinking bloggers and editors, often in public and in broad daylight. Tuhin is a persecuted writer, but he also is a poet who has authored 7 poetry collections. He is the son and the brother of women who have faced gender-based discrimination. He's a lover of his nation's literary culture. He comes from Borishal, a city in south-central Bangladesh that has produced many other freethinkers like him. In several ways, his life, personal and professional, has coincided with the rise of fundamentalism in Bangladesh. In this interview, we are going to talk about, or this conversation, we are going to talk about the different facets as much as we have time, and then we are going to open the conversation to you guys so we receive questions. So yesterday we were talking about this interview with Tuhin, and Tuhin stopped me in a moment, and he said, you know what, the problem is that really people have a wrong idea of what Bangladesh is or how Bangladesh is.
Sorry.
It's okay. And so I would like to start asking him to explain to us how Bangladesh is, and to avoid these misunderstandings that he has seen in the past. So, and I will put some pictures that he sent me.
Sorry. Hi everyone. আমি বাংলায় বলছি প্রথমে।
I'll be speaking in Bengali.
আসলে এখানে
In the
আসার
past,
পরে
I have been interviewed by quite a few people, and very often I've been asked about Bangladesh, and somehow I felt that everybody has been misunderstanding my beautiful country. I would like to say that in the beginning that the situation in my country is not similar to what you see in Iraq, Syria, or Afghanistan. We still do not have any civil war in Bangladesh. I come from a very beautiful country called Bangladesh from Southeast Asia. It is a plain land in the delta between the Ganges River and the Brahmaputra River, and it is surrounded and trespassed by rivers. We have 6 seasons. We have greens all around. There are about 68,000 villages in Bangladesh. The population is 160 million, and there is 94% Muslims. The remaining 6% includes Hindus, Christians, and Buddhists. Paddy or rice is our staple food, and we have India, Myanmar, and the Bay of Bengal on the 3 sides, and we love fish. Oh, he also mentioned that it is not because I've come here does not mean that the entire country is plagued by terrorism. It's happening in pockets, but it is spreading.
Thank you, Tuhin. I think that that's really enlightening for us. But also, I would like to discuss with you, you can tell us more about the reasons why you are here, why now you are a writer in exile. We know that not everything is one color. It has different sides. But we want you to explain about this side that brought you here.
আসলে আমি লেখালেখি শুরু করি
I have come here to express freedom of speech. I had started writing around 2000, and I had started editing and writing for different papers and magazines. Around 2000, around that time, the Jamaat Islam-sponsored coalition government, along with the BNP, had come into power. They supported politics that is laden with religious background or religious favors, and so at that time they were trying to control the writing, and because of their views, the political views, we writers, we wanted to protest. We took up to writing against the state-sponsored politics the state politics that sponsors different religious groups and that looks down upon minorities. Now in 2013, and actually at that time I was once unofficially arrested, and I was held for 24 hours, and I was also tortured by the police. I still carry the marks of those injuries that was given to me by the police torture. And I have also received a lot of threats on phone and different other ways. Like I have received threats from people who were against my writing or my expressing my opinions. In 2013, I joined the Shahbag movement in the Barishal chapter, and the Shahbag movement was formed in 2013 in Bangladesh as a protest against the violence, the rape of the thousands of women in the 1971 war of the freedom movement of Bangladesh, and the criminals were still at large. There was no action taken against them. So the young generation and many survivors and their descendants took to the streets in protest and demanding justice. So I joined this movement in the Borishal chapter, and I became an active member there. At that time, many of the writers came into the hit lists, and in 2015, in August, a list was published with my picture and my name in it, along with other writers. And that is when situations grew grave, and it became difficult for me to be out in the open, and I decided it is not safe anymore, and I went underground. From there, I came to City of Asylum. I contacted কাকে কন্টাক্ট করেছিলে?
সিটি প্রশাসনের সঙ্গে যোগাযোগ করে এবং
Through pen.
এপ্রিল এখানে চলে আসি। শুরু করা দরকার নেই।
I contacted City of Asylum, and I came here in April of this year.
Thank you, Tuhin. I have to say that Tuhin came April the 2nd, right? Yes. And April the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th, someone was killed in Bangladesh. And that hasn't stopped. Every time that we met, Tuhin says, Sylvia, I have more bad news. Sometimes I saw them in the news. Sometimes they are not reported in the news. And he come with the news. So we feel really privileged to have Tuhin here with us. And I would like you, Tuhin, to explain us more about the blogosphere, am I pronounce it correctly, in Bangladesh, and your particular experience as a blogger there.
আচ্ছা, কবিতা বলতে আমার 60টি
Blogging is a fairly new event going on that has started a new experience in Bangladesh. In 2006 was when the first blogging started. Before that, the media, the print media and the television and the TV the film networks, they were all controlled by the rich and influential people. And very often we have seen that the rich and powerful, they often used this media to manipulate and influence the popular views. But still, the things, like lot of opinions were still not reaching everyone. And by 2006, when blogging became a very powerful media, and lot of writers started expressing their open liberal views through this media. People started writing against the war criminals of 1971, about the discrimination of the minorities, about the tortures on minorities. They started writing about women's rights, and especially in 2006 onwards, from 2006 onwards, there were detailed writings started appearing in the blogs on topics such as atheism, secularism, LGBT rights, and women's rights.
বেসিক্যালি মানে
Both atheism and the LGBT community and the atheist community can be persecuted under the government, under the Constitution of Bangladesh. Both are punishable crimes. So even writing about these topics are equally, they are considered to be equally bad, and they can be taken by the police forces. Now, when the terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda and IS started contacting different the mullahs and the different networks in Bangladesh, and they started condemning these bloggers, writers, and they said that these are atheists and they have to be killed. Now, Al-Qaeda targeted the atheist bloggers, whereas the IS targeted the minorities, who come from the Hindu, Christian, Buddhist communities. They could be women writers, or they could be from the LGBT community. He would like to say that starting from 2006 onwards, that already 16 atheist bloggers have been murdered.